So we had Chi tell us what she wanted to talk about, and she wants to talk about the other viral sensation, K-pop Demon Hunters.
Oh my God, I
Yes.
love this movie.
Okay, I love this movie. I've had friends who like don't even like movies or animated movies, and they've been watching this like on repeat. It's for some reason become like a comfort watch for most people. And I think what was super interesting for me, because I love K-pop, I follow it, I have my favorite bands. But the people singing these songs that top the charts like globally were not really by like a famous K-pop band. This is
Mm.
someone who was a writer who's been a K-pop trainee and never got her big break and just like wrote a song, sung it for this movie, and it's now topping charts. Part of the movie is that there's a band, which like three girls, and they basically have to once a year like come together and make this big show, and their voices together like seal like a cover to protect the world from evil. Lollapalooza, there's a band that did this, and this is not the original band or the original singer who did it for the movie. So there's another band that was covering this song
Oh,
and playing
got
these
it.
characters because technically it's an animated thing, so it's not a
So
real band.
sure, but I thought it would have been like the people
Yeah,
that played the characters. So this
no,
is okay, so this is another level of like meme
no,
culture where it's
This is
yes,
like
another
a
level because the
band did the
band,
cover.
yeah,
Got it.
is
the
so
band is
in
called Twice, and they
yes,
have a couple other songs on the soundtrack for the movie,
Okay,
yes,
but
cool.
they are not. So other thing to know is the band Huntrix in the movie. It's three members of the band, but in real life, like they're singers, right? Like
mm-hmm,
the lead singer is I think her name is EJ, but
mm-hmm,
she's not part of a different band, right? Like they just
no,
kind of like assembled these people to represent the
yeah,
band in the movie. And so the band at Lollapalooza was Twice, just a different
wait,
band
Mhm.
yeah.
who did the cover of the main song, I think.
Yes. Yeah. And like what's interesting is that all of these real K-pop bands are also fully into this movie's plot and like
Mhm.
being fans of the movie and the song. So they covered it, they dressed up like the characters in the movie, and they had this beautiful drone show to mimic the same like ripples that they were trying to seal in the movie. And then they sealed it, and then they said, "Oh, the honeymoon is now sealed," and people are like crying. They're so
That's
happy because
so funny.
That's so cool.
they got to live
Like
the
the
movie
show.
scene exactly like the
I would
movie.
love to be part of that
Oh my
because
God,
the
me
movie is
Amazing.
so
too.
good. K-pop Demon Hunters has become Netflix's most watched animated movie ever, surpassing 130 million views globally since its release on June 20th.
Yeah. And also the songs, they surpassed streams more than Blackpink, which is like the biggest K-pop
Mm.
Yeah,
female
that's it.
band.
And the main song Golden is still number
Yeah,
one.
it's still
And
number one. And
also,
BTS too. They
what's also
surpassed
important to
BTS.
note is uh both Blackpink and BTS have been on hiatus for a while.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And right now is Blackpink's comeback after they've kind of
Yes, the
done
tour.
some of their
Yeah.
separate solo projects. So they just came out with their song called Jump, but
Mm-hmm.
Golden is still outranking Jump. But
Yeah.
BTS, they announced their album, I think their comeback album is going to be next year.
Yeah.
What they did though, which I thought was great, was they did a little dance video to
The
Soda
Saja
Pop,
Boys.
So
Yeah.
to the song of the rival boy band
Yeah.
in the movie. But I mean, BTS, great dancers, so it's fun to watch. I think it was super smart of them to kind of embrace the trend
Mhm.
and be
Yeah.
part of it without having to actually do a whole lot, right? Like, I'm sure they practiced, right? They planned the video, they practiced the choreography, but I imagine for BTS, a very well-oiled machine, like it couldn't have been that hard for them to learn and to
Oh
shoot.
no, for sure. And it's
But
very
it
interesting.
also recalls what happens in the movie, right? Because you have the, the girl band and then the boy band, and they're
Hmm.
like, facing off their rivals. And like one of the things that the girl band learns is that like if we unite together, we get more attention for, us too. So the fact that they're,
Yeah.
being more inclusive of these other bands, and it's a fake band, sure, but being ready to celebrate it makes everybody have a better time, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's one of those things where like, when one person wins, we all win, or like one
Well,
person in
that's what
this
we've been
group
talking
of
about
the
here
in
about
culture.
Tom
Yeah,
Cruise, right? Where Tom
yeah,
Cruise says if one movie wins, we all win, right? So
yeah,
it's just
it's
like
true.
we're seeing more of that kind of spread, that message spread, which I think is good for, every industry, because it is true, right? It's like the more that everybody is like winning, the more that like the ships
Yeah.
are all kind of rising.
Yeah. And it's really cool to see how like the Korean culture, like there's this thing, the phenomenon called the Korean wave that started in the pandemic. Like every couple of years, everyone gets super obsessed with Korean skincare and like K-pop bands and K-dramas, and then it kind of fades away. But I feel like the last wave that started in the pandemic, where people were obsessively watching these dramas and getting into Korean skincare, has sustained. And like this is such a good moment or example of like how it's like surpassed just
Mhm.
the people who are obsessed with the Korean culture in a way where like it is topping charts like for the music, for animated films, like worldwide. It's not just North America or not just Korea. So it's really interesting to see how it's kind of like transcended borders and cemented itself in like as a cultural moment. And it reminds me of like other similar moments too, where I feel like, sure, skincare is one of them, but I'm trying to think. There's one like BTS, like when they blew up, right? There's another K-pop band, and now suddenly it was like the best in the world. Like people are paying thousands to watch them. When they went for their military training, people were like crying. They're like, "Oh my gosh, come back! What are we gonna do without you?" And it was crazy to me as someone who's followed this culture and their content for a while to like see it surpass boundaries and then like stick. That doesn't happen very often, not from what I've seen. So I like that it's kind of like made its mark in a way where it's cool to see, and like it also bleeds into how bands are formed. I don't know if you know Cat's Eye, but that's another like huge band up and coming, but it's become like this crazy big, it's not a trend, but it's just huge, and it's been in the span of a year. And like the people who put together BTS put together this band also. It's a girl group, but they put it together in a very cool way. They picked members from like different countries and ethnicities to put together a global girl group. So while their music might still be K-pop-ish, but they wanting to make it more relatable to everyone else. I really like how that culture is kind of seeping into others and becoming more global in a way. But you should look it up. Cat's Eye is another one that was insane and
Hmm.
blew up. And they have a really cool Netflix documentary too of like how they were picked like game show style and made into a girl group. And it's fun because you know this is manufactured, but to see the process of how it was manufactured is pretty interesting. And people still
Sure.
enjoy
I
it.
mean, we've seen that before, right? Like, what is it? One Direction was, manufactured. I mean, the boy bands of our age, right? And Sync was also manufactured. There's O-Town, remember from they were on MTV and they showed the whole process. What is it? Danity Kane was also, an MTV band that was put together. So I think like we've seen this before. It is interesting to kind of see the new generation of it, right?
Yeah.
Because before this, we were also talking about the bands like the Cheetah Girls and the Camp Rock kids that were put together for like the Disney Channel. So it's like we've seen these type of bands together. I think it is new that it's more of a worldwide band as opposed to like a certain
Yeah.
I think
particular
it's
country.
I think it's also new that that they're more revered.
Yeah.
Right? Like we had, I mean, I was a huge fan of the Backstreet Boys
Mhm.
when I was in middle school. Like who, a lot of us were, right? I was the only one, but
Just
but
you by yourself.
just me by myself. No, but there's
Just a
certain
Backstreet Boy.
yeah,
That's
Yeah,
just the
it.
one.
right.
No, but there certainly was like if you liked the Backstreet Boys and NSYNC, like, oh, you didn't like real music. That isn't real
Mm-mm.
music. That was
Oh, totally.
manufactured. They're not a real band. They were
Well,
put
I think you
together
still
by
see
some
that now
guy. I
too.
mean, but I think, but the difference, but like that was very much like, oh, you like that. Like back then,
Mhm.
that was what people thought. Like, oh, that's not real. What's real is the band that I like, right? But
Well, the ones who
nowadays, it's
play
more of like
music,
people.
right? So
What?
this reminds me, oh my God, what we were talking about, right? Where it's like people aren't really playing instruments or being in bands anymore. The default like music career is now being in a pop band, basically, or you're like a singer, though there's some that don't sing, right? So I wonder if that also overlaps with, what you're saying now, where now pop, or, pop girlies and, the pop boys or whatever are the ones that are getting that massive appeal because we don't really have bands that are like playing
Hmm.
as much.
Yeah, and the transparency of it all, like I don't know how the NSYNC and other bands are formed, but I've never seen like we know that it's manufactured and these people are
Hmm.
picked, but it's never like an open conversation where they talk about how they were picked or the
Hmm.
process, and they're super transparent. But we're not best friends. We were put together for this thing to work. And then we become friends, which is was very interesting to me to watch in a documentary, how they went through their process and where they are now. And again, as someone who's like brown, you don't get to see like Asian bands or global groups that have people that look like me become this huge. So it's really interesting to kind of also see that become a more international thing now, where it's not just like an American pop band or a
Mm.
strictly like Korean band that is like really big. It's something that is like more accessible and relatable. And to your point, Sonia, like, yeah, all of these people are now like individual like influencers. Like they have their own brand, their own fandoms within like the big girl group fandom,
Mhm.
and they ride hard for these girls. It's kind of intense to
I
watch.
mean, think about the Spice Girls, right? They had their own like individual like
Yes.
brands and personalities, and then each of the,
Yeah.
fans would choose like the one that they most felt
Yeah.
acquainted to, you
Yeah,
know?
totally. Yeah.
Um,